The village of Ntoaso once bloomed with green abundance, but now the sun burned mercilessly, and the earth had cracked open like a broken promise. Every farmer prayed for rain, yet none came. Among them stood Kwame, a humble farmer whose faith had not yet withered. In Nuaso, every household felt the hunger of the land. The river had turned to a ribbon of dust. Children carried empty gourds, and even the animals had grown thin. Yet Kwame shared his last grains with the elders, saying softly, "The sky tests us, but it never forgets us." One evening, Kwame visited Efua, the oldest woman in the village. She told him, "The rain listens only to those whose hearts are pure. Speak not to the sky with words, but with deeds." Kwame bowed his head, realizing what he must do. The next morning, Kwame took his last handful of seeds and walked toward a barren hill. The villagers whispered, "He's gone mad." But Kwame smiled and said, "The soil may be dry, but kindness is never wasted." He planted each seed carefully into the dust. That night, as Kwame sat under the vast sky, the wind began to stir. He closed his eyes and spoke gently, "I have given what I have. If it pleases you, give what you hold." The stars flickered brighter, as if listening. Days passed. The sun still ruled the sky, and the hill remained barren. The villagers laughed when they saw Kwame watering the dust with his clay bowl. "You're feeding the earth with hope," they jeered. Kwame only smiled and said, "Hope is the seed that never dries." One morning, a little girl approached him. "Why do you plant when there is no rain?" she asked. Kwame smiled and handed her a seed. "Because one day the sky will remember us. Plant this one beside mine." She nodded solemnly and did as told. That night, the wind carried whispers through the village. Some said it was just the desert breeze, but Efua smiled knowingly from her hut. "The earth has heard," she murmured. "It waits for the song of the sky." The next evening, dark clouds began to gather for the first time in months. Thunder rumbled faintly in the distance. Children ran through the streets shouting, "Kwame has called the rain." But Kwame simply knelt in silence, his heart steady, his spirit thankful. Then the first raindrop fell. It landed on Kwame's hand, trembling like a tear of the sky. Then came another, and another. Soon the heavens opened, and the people of Nuaso danced beneath the long-awaited rain, laughing, crying, and singing his name. By morning, the land had changed. The once cracked soil now shimmered with new life. Tiny green shoots pushed through the mud like newborn hope. Kwame walked barefoot among them, whispering prayers of thanks to the earth that had finally awakened. The villagers gathered around Kwame's small hut, their faces lit with joy and shame. "Forgive us," they said. "We mocked your faith." Kwame smiled. "It wasn't me," he said quietly. "It was all of us. When one believes, the sky listens for many." Efua, the old woman, approached Kwame. "You have done what even chiefs could not," she said softly. "You reminded the sky that we are still worthy." Kwame bowed before her. "You taught me that patience is louder than thunder," he replied. That evening, drums echoed through the village. The chief declared a festival in honor of the rain and the farmer who called it. Laughter and dancing filled the air, and Kwame watched from afar, his heart full, his eyes lifted to the shimmering stars above. The next dawn, the little girl who had planted beside him ran to Kwame, holding a sprouting seedling. "It's growing," she cried. Kwame lifted the plant gently and smiled. "Then so will we," he said, as sunlight bathed the land in gold once more. As days turned into weeks, the fields of Ntoaso flourished. Rivers once dry now sang again, and the air smelled of wet earth and mango blossoms. The villagers worked side by side, laughter echoing across the hills. They no longer feared the sky. They spoke to it with gratitude. Word of Kwame's faith spread far beyond Nitoaso. Travelers carried his story to distant villages. Some came seeking his wisdom. Others brought gifts of seeds and song. But Kwame always said the same: "Don't thank me. Thank the rain within you." One quiet evening, Ifua called Kwame to her hut. Her eyes were soft, her voice weaker than before. "My time is near," she whispered, "but I go smiling, for the land sings again." Kwame took her hand. "You are the voice behind the rain," he said gently. After Ifua's passing, the village gathered beneath the great baobab tree. They sang her song, the song of patience and hope. As their voices rose, rain began to fall once more, light and gentle, like the old woman's blessing from the sky. Years later, children told Kwame's story beside the river, where he once prayed alone, and the elders would smile, repeating his words. The sky listens to hearts that stay kind. The drought was gone, but the lesson remained: faith grows what rain cannot. The years rolled by, and Nitoaso prospered. The once barren hills turned green, dotted with farms and laughter. Kwame's name became a song of the harvest. Yet he remained humble, saying, "The earth remembers kindness longer than rain." Every year, on the day the rain first returned, the people held the festival of gratitude. They danced, sang, and poured libations to honor the sky and the earth. Children would shout, "Kwame's rain is here again," and joy filled every corner of the village. One season, a traveler from a distant desert village arrived. His clothes were torn, his eyes desperate. "We have forgotten the rain," he said. "Teach us how to call it back." Kwame nodded gently. "The sky answers those who first feed the thirsty earth." Kwame walked the traveler to his fields. He showed him how to water the ground even when no rain had come. "You must believe," he said, "not because you see the clouds, but because you trust the seed." The traveler listened with tears in his eyes. Weeks later, news came that the traveler's village had found rain again. He sent word to Noaso, thanking Kwame for his faith and wisdom. The villagers rejoiced Kwame's lesson had spread beyond rivers and ridges, touching hearts far away. One night, a great storm came. Thunder roared, lightning danced, but this time, no one feared it. The people laughed under the downpour, knowing that even storms carry blessings. Kwame stood in the rain, eyes closed, whispering, "Thank you, old friend." One morning, a curious boy asked, "Uncle Kwame, what if the rain stops again?" Kwame smiled and placed a seed in his hand. "Then you plant," he said, "because faith doesn't wait for the sky, it invites it." Years passed, and Kwame grew old. His hair turned silver, his hands wrinkled, but his spirit remained bright. They called him Rainkeeper. Each child he taught carried the lesson, not of water, but of faith. "Keep kindness in your heart," he said, "and the rain will never leave." One dawn, the village awoke to find Kwame's hut silent. He had passed peacefully in his sleep. But that morning, soft rain began to fall, though no clouds had gathered. The villagers whispered, "The Rainkeeper has gone home to the sky." And so, the legend of Kwame lived on. His story became a song sung by children each time the rain returned. It reminded all who heard it. The sky listens not to cries, but to hearts that give. Moral: patience waters the roots of every dream.